Okay, so yesterday we began the Masechta. Abayat Shnelda B'Yantif. Beis Shammai says you could eat it, and Beis Hillel says you can't eat it. We were looking for a reason for Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, and we had two reasons. We had the reason of Rav Nachman, right? Rav Nachman said that it's muktzah. It's speaking about an egg that is standing there for the purpose of raising eggs, a chicken that was there for the purpose of raising eggs. It wasn't there to be eaten. So a person was mekatzer das, was muktzah, and therefore what? It was therefore Beis Hillel holds like Rabbi Yehuda, that is machmir by muktzah, and Beis Shammai holds but like Rav Shimon, who is what is mekel by muktzah, correct? And we saw kash from Yontif. We said by Yontif they're machmir, by Shabbos they're mekel. We asked the kasha on that. We said that l'chayre, if the whole machlokes in muktzah, why didn't you have the machlokes by the chicken? Why do you just have the machlokes by the egg? Because the egg is also because the chicken's muktzah. So the Gemara answered. The Gemara didn't answer the question. The Gemara said in Echnami, you should have said the halacha by both. You should have mentioned if a beya is nolda b'yantif, he ubeit sasa is what is asa. The Gemara remained with a question of Rav Nachman. That was Rav Nachman's sheet of muktzah. We saw it because of that question. We had another answer. That was the answer of Rabbi. Rabbi brings a pasuk that's a thing called hachana, that you can't be making for Shabbos and Yontif for Yontif for Shabbos. You only be making from Chol to Shabbos and from Chol to Yontif. And we're speaking not any Yontif. We're speaking about a Yontif that fell out after Shabbos. Be'eshnol the Yontif that fell out after Shabbos. This egg can't be eaten because when was this egg prepared? It was prepared on Shabbos. If it was born on Yom Tif on Sunday, then the Nigmarsa, it was prepared right on Shabbos, and you can't be making from Shabbos to Yom Tif. And therefore, so the Gemara asks, so why about a regular Yom Tif that falls out after a Chayil? The Gemara says, Gezeira, what? We're going to one or to the other. We're going to see today two more Terutzim, both Gezeiras de Rabbanon, one according to Reb Yosef, and one according to Reb Yitzchak. So we're up to Beis Amid Beis. We are two lines from the bottom. Rabbi Yosef says, Gezeirim Mishum Peres Hanoishrin. You're not allowed to go ahead if a peri falls off a tree. You're not allowed to go. You're not if you can't take a peri because you may come. If I let you take a peri that falls off the tree, you may come to go ahead and pick fruit. So l'chayra, that's the same thing over here. The same thing over here. We can view the chicken as the tree, and we can view the peris as the egg as the fruit. So just like peris and noishim is asa, so too with geyser to chicken, egg to chicken. Peris and noishim. Peris and noishim time amai. What's the reason? The reason why you can't go ahead and use the peris is because you may come to go up the tree and use the peris. That's a gezeira. Now the half mean of the Gemara is, guys, that there's two gezeiras. I'm geyser one peris at the tree, and two, I'm geyser eggs at the peris. So that's a second gezeira. And we all know, ain't geyser gezeira the gezeira. Hagufu gezeira, it itself is, oh wow, we're getting Penny Fisher from Uman.
Wi-Fi. Everything is good. I'm just jumping out to say hello. I came running over at 9:30.
Excellent. Okay, so now you're going to tell me that this is a gezeira. So you have a gezeira. I'm got the eggs at the peris. I'm geyser eggs at the peris. So the Gemara's answer is that the eggs are gufa part of the gezeira of peris. The eggs are gufa part of the gezeira of peris. Says when he gufa gezeira, not nickname gezeira, and for the Gemara kulacha the gezeira, it's all part of one gezeira. When they made the gezeira peris noishrim, included in that gezeira is beitzah shnolda b'yantif. It's beitzah shnolda b'yantif. So again, according to Rav Nachman muktzah, according to Rabbi hachana, according to Reb Yosef peris hanoishrim, that's the reason you cannot eat an egg that was born on yantif. A fourth teretz, Reb Yitzchak says, gezeira mishum mashkin shezavu. What's the reason if you have a fruit and the juice oozes out of it? What's the reason you can't eat it? Because you may come to go ahead and squeeze it. So the same thing, the egg as something that is oozing out of the chicken. And therefore that's why you can't eat the egg. Amalei Abaya says Abaya to Rabbi Yitzchak. Mashkin shezavu taima mai gezeira shema Yitzchak. Maybe you're going to go ahead and you're going to squeeze the fruit. He gufa gezeira. Mashkin itself is gezerah. By non naked v'nigz the gezerah, egg atu fruit, which is atu squeeze. Says no kulucha the gezerah. The same teretz as before. It's all part of one gezerah. When they made the gezerah on Mashkin Shazavu, they have that included in that. So again, now we have 4 terutzim. Let's go over the terutzim. Rav Nachman al Smukza, and that's why Beis Hillel says you can't use it because he says by Yontif we're machmir, and it's speaking about a chicken that is for the purpose of its eggs. Rav Nachman is speaking about a chicken that's the purpose for the food, and the reason it's asa is not al Smukza. The reason it's asa is as hachana, the hachana of Rabbi, that it was since it's speaking about Yontif that falls after Shabbos. So it was completed on Shabbos, and you're making from Shabbos to Yontif. Rabbi Yosef, Perish and Noishrum, we're going to view the chicken as a chicken and an egg as fruit from a tree. Rabbi Yitzchak, we're going to view it as juice from a fruit. And the last 2 are clearly gezeres. Okay? Now the Gemara is going to go over what didn't each one like about the other one. What did each one like about the other one? So now, Kula Rav Nachman, the latter 3, Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Yitzchak did not like Rav Nachman's teretz. He cushioned because of the kasha we asked. Why, did you go ahead and tell me if it's a muqsadin? Why'd you only argue by the egg? You should have argued by the chicken as well. That was the kasha we left off with. So the latter 3 did not like Rav Nachman's teretz because of his kasha. Kirabba nami loyamri, they didn't like Rabbi's teretz. Hachana leslahu. They don't hold of hachana. They don't hold of Rabbi's drush in the pasuk. They didn't hold of hachana. El Rabbi Yosef, who said als Paris shenashru. My time alayim Rabbi Yitzchak, who said als mashkin shezavu. So Malach, I'll tell you what I don't like about mashkin. Beitzah oicheles. Beitzah is a food. Who Paris oichla, and Paris is a food. Lafuki mashkin de lavuchla. It's a liquid. In other words, if you look at the physical mitzias, it's more comparable to say an egg is comparable to a fruit than it is to a liquid. Rabbi Yitzchak, who said it's more comparable to a liquid. My timer, Layamak Rabbi Yosef, who said it's comparable to a fruit. Amalach, Beitzah Belua. Beitzah is Belua. It's absorbed in the chicken. Umashkin Beluim, and the juice is absorbed in the fruit. Lafuke Paris. Lafuki the prayer itself, the megale v'kaime, that it's what it is out in the open. So each one had its reason why it's more comparable. According to Rabbi Yosef, they're both edible, they're both fruits as opposed to drinkable. And according to Rabbi Yitzchak, let's look in the mitzias of what it comes from. The juice comes from the fruit, it's blue in the fruit, it's absorbed in the fruit. For who adin, the egg is absorbed in the chicken. In the Paris, there's no, it is what it is. You see what it is. And therefore, each one said their reason. So we have 4 reasons now. Again, quickly, we have Rav Nachman's Muktzah, we have Rabbi's Hachana, we have Rabbi Yosef al Paris Shenoshrin, and Rabbi Yitzchak al Mashkin Shazavu. Now, the Af Rabbi Yochanan Sava Gezer Mashkin Shazavu. Even Rabbi Yochanan said it's a Gezer de Rabbanon. The great Rabbi Yochanan, the biggest Moira in Eretz Yisrael, the Allah is like Rabbi Yochanan. He said that the reason is als mashkin shezavu, like Rabbi Yitzchak. Now, he never said it, fellas, but from a dialogue, we're going to infer that that's the reason. Again, one more time. He never openly said, Perish and Elda B'Yontiv, according to Beis Hillel is asa, because of mashkin shezavu. He never said that. He said something, and from that something, we're going to infer that that's what he meant. Says the Gemara, what did we see? The Rabbi Yochanan and Rami. Rabbi Yochanan asked the stira. The Rabbi Yehuda. Umishani, and he answered. And from that answer, we're going to see that he held mashkin shezavu. Ain't soichlen as a Paris, lahoitzi mehen mashkin. On Shabbos, you're not able to squeeze Paris. It's a told of dash. Lahoitzi mehen mashkin. Vim yotzu miatzmon. And if they come out by themselves, asurim. That's the gezerah of mashkin shezavu, right? If they come out, you may come to go ahead right and squeeze it. Rabbi Yehuda makes a chilik. Rabbi Yehuda Omar, im laoichlen. If it's you put these Paris for fruit, meaning for food. You're not going to use it for its juice. An orange that you're going to use for oranges rather than orange juice. Grapes that you're going to use to eat instead of wine. In other words, then in that case, fellas, you don't want the liquid to come out because it's going to diminish your quality of the fruit. If the fruit was put away for a fruit, then what's going to come out of it is mutter, because I'm not worried you're going to squeeze it, because since you put it away for a fruit, you don't want the juice. So there's no reason to go ahead V'im lamashkin, however, it's lamashkin hayotze min asa. Alma kol uchel Rabbi Yehuda uchel de'ifrisu. When Rabbi Yehuda permitted you to use the juice that came out of a fruit that was put away for achila, he used the juice as an eichel. Or else, why could you eat it? So if you use it as an eichel, good. Now, Uriminu, I'll ask you a stira in Rabbi Yehuda. For Oidam Rabbi Yehuda, in addition, Rabbi Yehuda says the following. Now, we had a Mishnah in Erevin. Guys, we had a Gemara Sugya, whether Rosh Hashanah is 1 day or 2 days, and a person wants to make an Erev, so if it's a suffix which day he needs the Erev, he puts an Erev one place and another place, and he says, if today is Choyel, then my Erev is nothing, and if tomorrow is what? Is Kodesh, then the next day he does the same thing. In addition, let's say he didn't shade off Chumas and Maisa, and you're not allowed to take off Chumas and Maisa on Yontif. It's a Mishnah Lamed Vav, we're going to see. You're not allowed to take off Chumas and Maisa on Yontif or Kol Shkein Shabbos. So what happens if he ends up, and it's Rosh Hashanah, and he forgot to take off Chumas and Maisa, what can he do? Masna Adam al Kilkola Shel Peris, the Yontif Rishon, a person can make a condition on his Peris and Yontif Rishon v'oichle b'sheni. What can he do? He could say, I'm going ahead, if today is Choyel, I'm taking off Chumas Maisa today, and if not, I'm doing nothing. The next day he goes up to the next basket and says, if today is Choyel, then you should take off Chumas Maisa now. And if today is Kodesh, then I took it off yesterday, right? Therefore, and you can eat the second one Mimanav Shach. V'chein Beitzah shenolda b'rishayin teichel b'sheni. An egg that's born on the second day, you could eat it on the second day. B'sheni in b'risha loy. You could eat it only on the second day and not on the first day. Now you got a problem. If the chicken is viewed as food, why can't you eat it on the first day, guys? It's uchla de'ifris, right? This is Rabbi Yehuda saying. Says Rabbi Yehuda, a beitzah that is born on the first day, you can only eat it on the second day. But if you're telling me that we view the chicken as food, right, then why can't you eat the egg right away? Says Rashi, V'oichel b'sheni, avalei b'rishayin, the shema kodesh u'bein b'v'klum, v'chein legabe beitzah, havishtei kedushais, ha'echad chol v'echad yantif, v'hanoil b'rishayin muteres b'sheni. B'sheni in b'rishayin loy, alma, ki Rashi, alma, kol midi dezav mimkoimai b'yantif, v'afilu oichla aser. It's even aser. So that's just stira in Rabbi Yehuda. One more time. Rabbi Yehuda said initially, if the fruit was put away for the purpose of food, then the stuff that comes out is mutter right away on Shabbos. However, over here we're saying, even if the beitzah is considered food, the stuff that comes out is asa. We have a stira, and that Gemara answers, Mishani Rabbi Yochanan Muchlef Shita. Rabbi Yochanan answers, change the shita. Okay, now, what do we want? We want to prove that Rabbi Yochanan holds the reasons as mashkin shezavu. Let's not lose sight of that fact. We want to prove the reason why a beitzah is asa on yontif is because of Rabbi Yitzchak's din of mashkin shezavu. So now, in the teretz of Rabbi Yochanan, we're going to see that fact. He says, change around the shita, that what? That in the first Mishnah that said, Ein soichdin, Rabbi Yehuda holds, even if you put it away for food, you can't eat it. And the Rabbanan make the chilik between whether it's put away for food or put away for juice. So the first Mishnah that we quoted, Ein soichdin, that when it says if you put it away for food, it's okay, that's the Rabbanan. But Rabbi Yehuda says it doesn't make a difference. Whether you put it away for mashkin or even if you put it away for food, you won't be able to use it, because even if something comes out of a food, it's aser, and that's why beitzah, even though it's a food, the chicken, the egg comes out, it's aser. So you answered up the stira in Rabbi Yehuda. But again, what do we want? We want to prove Rabbi Yochanan holds. The reason is al smashkin sezavu umid kamarami le ahadadi. And when he asked them as a stira on each other, you asked a stira. Rabbi Yochanan asked a stira from mashkin says zavu, and beitzah on itself shma mina. We hear from here chad taimahu, that it's the same reason, and the one who says that it's aser in this one would be aser. So therefore, what beitzah is al mashkin says zavu shma mina chad taimahu. So therefore, we've proven what we've proven Rabbi Yochanan. That's all we wanted to do. When he asked the question from oichel to mashkin shezavu, we must hold that the reason is as mashkin shezavu. Now, just going back to answer up the steer in Rabbi Yehuda. So the first, again, what's the steer in Rabbi Yehuda? Mashma by Shabbos oichla, it's okay. Mashma by Yom by Beitzah, it's not okay. We answered, switch it around. That it's never okay. By Shabbos also, it's not okay. We switched around the shittas. Ravina says the oilam loy tebach. Don't switch around the shittas. Rabbi Yehuda l'devrayim the Rabbanon kamalahu. Rabbi Yehuda was just saying through words of the Rabbanon who said it's awesome. Lididi, according to me, Rabbi Yehuda, afilu b'rishon nami sharia. Even on the first day, it's mutter. The uchla de ifrisu, because what? It's uchla de ifris. El lidchu oidelan. In other words, this is on the second. Don't switch around the shittas. By Shabbos, guys, he holds if it's put away for oichla, you could go ahead and eat. You could go ahead and eat. Beitzah, what was that diak? Beitzah, you can only eat it on the second day. You can't eat it on the first day. So you see that wad, even though it's an oichla, you can't eat it. No. You really could eat it on the first day, according to me. Lididi, the egg, afil barisha nami sharia. The egg, even on the first day, is permitted. Why? The ochla de ifrisu. So guys, there's no steering now, right? Rabbi Yehuda said if the peiros were put away for food, the mashkin that comes out could be eaten because it's food. Beitzah, it's food. You really could eat it on the first day. It's food. The chicken's food and it's food. So now there's no stira. So what's the dialogue? Lididi, according to me, I feel a barisha namishaya, dochla differsu. Eladidchu, the oidalamias, be voided to me, the b'sheni sharia, that on the second day it's mutta. Why? The shtei kedusha is saying because there's two kedusha, so you can make that tonight. If today was choil, today kodesh. The Yamad Rabbanon loy kedusha achasi. What are you hacking at China? We know that Rosh Hashanah is Yom HaRichter, guys. It's one whole day. Therefore, if it's asur on one, it's asur on the other one. Okay, now. A third way to possibly learn Pshat in the Stira Rabbi Yehuda, even though we've already successfully got what we wanted, which was that Rav Yechon holds the Tamas as Mashkin Shazavu. Ravina Breda Avula Amar Hacha B'Tanagolas Amedus Tagadol Beitzim. We're speaking about not about a chicken that is for the purpose of being eaten. Rabbi Yehuda Latamei Dislei Muktzah. Okay, you guys, what was that Stira? A Beitzah Shinol the Biyantiv. It's only you can't eat it on the first day. You can eat it on the second day. If Rabbi Yehuda holds by fruit, you could eat the juice that comes out because it's a food. So too, you should be able to eat the egg that comes out because it's a food. Says Rabbi Yochanan, switch around the shittas. Says Ravina, don't switch around the shittas. Say that really that the egg is also mutter the first day, and he was just saying the words of the Chachamim. Says Ravina in the name Ravula, there's no kasha in the first place. We're not speaking about a chicken that was being there for the purpose of dinner. You're not eating the chicken. This chicken was there for the purpose of laying eggs. So that chicken's muktzah. Rabbi Yehuda holds, what's Rabbi Yehuda l'shitasai? It's muktzah. So it's muktzah, the egg is muktzah, right? That's the reason. So your question was never a question. By Shabbos, it wasn't a muktzah dikadin. Shabbos was a gezerah dikadin. Do you make the gezerah or not? Over here, it's a muktzah dikadin. Nothing to do with each other. As he's saying Yiddish, the stira feinkt nicht on. It doesn't even begin. Okay? So now, so far, let's chazer it. But what have we seen so far? We began the Masechta with what? Beitzah Shnol Lebiyantif. We had a machlokes Beis Shammai, Beis Hillel. We really only care about Beis Hillel because the halacha is like Beis Hillel. Beis Hillel says you can't eat the egg. Says Rav Nachman because it's muktzah. Says Rabbi, it's speaking about Yantif that falls on Shabbos and didn't Zachana. Says Rabbi Yosef, it's because the Perish and Noishrin, we can compare the egg to a fruit. And Rabbi Yitzchak compares it to a liquid. Says Rabbi Yochanan the same. It's a gezerah. The Rabbanon we compare it to a liquid. We asked a stira in Rabbi Yehuda. We gave a few different terutzim to answer that stira. Now we're going to ask a kasha back on going back to the sugya of Beitzah Shenolda. Mesave. Ask the kasha. Beitzah Shenolda b'Shabbos. A beitzah that's born on Shabbos. The echad beitzah shenolda b'yantif, echad beitzah shenolda b'Shabbos, echad beitzah shenolda b'yantif. Whether it's a yantif tikadin or a Shabbos tikadin, ein metalton I saw. So this is a little more than the first Mishnah. Our Mishnah only spent linyan achila, either lo seichel or oichel. Here we're saying it's muktzah. Here we're saying that what ein metalton I saw. You can't carry it. You can't use it. Lo lichlis boyas hakli. You can't use it as a bottle stopper. Lo lisma bo kariyamita. Nor can you use it to go ahead and support a bed. Rashi brings it seems if you put an egg in the right way, it's very very strong. And you'll be able to go ahead and support a bed with it. You're able to take a kli and put it on top of it in order that it shouldn't break. And we don't say there's a shiloh we had in Shabbos whether a kli can only be taken for something that itself can be taken. And since this egg couldn't be taken, it's muktzah. Maybe you can't take the kli for the purpose of the egg. We're saying you could. And here's what we need: usveika asura. The suffix is asur. Now the havamina is suffix yontif, not suffix yontif. Usveika asura, v'imnis arva the elef, and if this egg that's a suffix gets mixed in with 1,000 other eggs, kulan asurais, they'd all be asa. Okay, so let's get what we just said. We said A, l'chayra, it's muktzah, so you can't carry it. B, you can right. B, you can cover it with a kli. And the last two things is what we need. Suffix is whether it's a suffix, whether it's born in yontif or not. It's right. It's asr. And if it gets mixed in with something else, it's not batal afil. It's not batal b'shishim. It's not batal b'meya. It's not batal b'matayim. It's not even batal b'elef. Afil if elef loy batal. I'm in the middle of saying share. Yeah, take a look in Mrs. Press's office. There's on the shelf. You know, the way she keeps on when you're walking on the left, you have a bunch of folders. You should find it there in the final folders. She's retaking the geometry, and something kind of global as well. Some kids global. I'm sorry. Okay, so now, guys, we're gonna ask the kasha on the different shittas. Now, the last two dinim are the ones that we need. One, suffix is asr, and two, if it gets mixed in, it's not batal. Guys, got those two things. Good, those two things. Suffix asr, if it gets mixed, it's batal. Guys, we need this to the end of share. So if you don't get it, I'll say it one more time. Right? Suffix, this egg, you don't know when the egg is born. The havamina is you don't know when this egg is born, so it's a suffix choil, suffix not. So therefore, what it's going to be, as a result, it's sveikei aser, and therefore, if it falls into a taruvis, the whole thing's going to be not batal. I'm going to see two separate dinim. So let's deal with the first din, the din of suffix. Let's deal with the first din of suffix. Bishleim l'rabba the amma mishumachana. Bishleim according to Rabbi. Again, we have three shittas. Bishleim Rabbi who says al sachana have a sveka deraisa. Rabbi bought a pasuk, right? Shishi, right? He bought a pasuk. So now he bought a pasuk, and we want to know what's the din. That it's a suffix deraisa. B'chol sveka deraisa l'chumra. Therefore, it's asur. El Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yitzchak. Rabbi Yosef who said gezeira perish shenoishru. Rabbi Yitzchak who said gezeira mashkich zezavu, which clearly are the Rabbanon, the Ami Mishum Gezerah Sveika the Rabbanon. He Michal Sveika the Rabbanon Lekula. Fellas, why is it Asa? Right? Why is it Asa? Beitzah Shenel the Biyantiv, suffix, whether it's born in Yantiv, suffix not. Again, what's the reason you can't eat it in Yantiv? It's because it's the Rabbanon. Because your geyser as Paris, or your geyser as what else? As Mashkin Zavu. That's the Rabbanan. Why should it be Asa? Again, the last two dinim, Sveika Asa Taruvis. So we're asking on the suffix the Gedin. Why in the world, if you have a suffix, whether it's born in Yantiv or not, is it Asa? It's a suffix the Rabbanan, Sveika the Rabbanan Lekula. Now, Bishleim, the Rabba who said Asachon, it's a suffix the Raisa. That's why it's that way. Now, interestingly enough, fellas, there's four Terutzim. There's Nachman's Teres al Smuktzah. The Gemara doesn't address that. They only address the latter three, not the first one. So the Rashba, they discussed this, the Mishayim of suffix muktzah is or not. You know, that gets into that rate. Okay, but right now, it's very geschmack. So right now we have a Gavaldi Kasha. Guys, because of this Kasha, we're going to change the din. The first din was speaking about Beitzah Shenol de Biyantif. The last two dinim, the suffix is speaking about the egg of a treifa. And you have an animal, the chicken turns out to be a treifa, the chicken's asa deraisa, the egg is asa deraisa. That's why it's asa to eat. So it's not a suffix derabanan, it's a suffix deraisa. Good? That answers that. However, what about the next thing? The next thing about taruvis, right? So in order to understand the next thing, there's a hakdama here. We're familiar with this, and it's always good to chaser. Midaraisa, achrei rabin lahachos. The pasuk tells us you batal b'roiv. 2 against 1, you batal. That's it. If you ever made eggs, right? Every balabasta knows you have to put 3 eggs in a pot, right? Because you want to make sure if one of them has a blitzkrieg or something that a blitzkrieg, you would have a blitz something, right? A blitz stream.
Blitz trop.
Okay. If anyone has one of that, then okay. That's batal b'roiv. But we have a din of what of nice and tam of 60. That's by most things. There are other things such as truma, which is 100. There are other things such as orla and klei akerim, which is 200. Then there's something that's never bottled. Those somethings are many things. One, a barrier, for example, something that is a full creature. A full creature, if it falls into something, is not bottled. A dava choshev, this is the one we need. Something that's counted. It's a dava choshev. It's sold b'minyan. That is not bottled because it's choshev. Chaticha rulis kabe, something that is right to put in front of a guest. Dava sheyesh matirin, something that it itself is mutter, or eventually will be mutter. It's asa now, but it'll be mutter the next day. So those things are not bottled. So now, what do we establish? The sveika here is speaking about a treifa, right? So, and then let's get into the taruvis dikadin. Says the Gemara, seifa asan. The first word online it says amalei with an asterisk that we took out. Seifa asan l'safik treifa. It's not speaking like we thought about safik yontif. It's not speaking about safik yontif, guys. It's speaking about safik treifa. Hihachi the safik treifa ema seifa, the latter din of the brisa. Nis arva be'elef kulan asuris. If it gets mixed in with 1,000, they're all asa. I'm bishleim a safik yontif safik chayil. Bishleim, if you're going to tell me it's a safik yontif safik chayil, havi dava sheyesh le matirin. It's something that is mutter. Fellas, if this egg is a suffix when it's born on yontif or on yontif or chayil, is it going to be asa forever? No, it'll only be asa that day. It's something that will be mutter. It's a davar sheyesh le matirim. It's something that will have a shas heter. The Chachamim who established this din of bittul said bittul will only be samich on this bidiyevik bittul only when I have no other choice. Over here, since it will be mutter eventually, then we don't say bittul. So like the Mandi Amar that said case number 3 was speaking about a suffix yontif, that would explain why if it gets mixed in with 1,000 other things, it's usher because it's a davar sheyesh le matir in it. It's something that'll be davar mutter. However, treifa, guys, is always usher. Eliyam, it's suffix treifa, davar sheyesh le matir in he v'ti bottle beruba, and it should be bottle beroiv. So now you're saying because of the kasha, that's suffix. If it's suffix derabanan, it should be mutter. So it must be suffix deraisa. So you created this case out of left field of a suffix treifa. That answered one question, but it didn't answer another question. It answered the question why sveikai aser. It didn't answer the question why afilu be'elef lebatel, right? So you answered one, but you created another problem. Had you stayed with the yontif answer, you would have understood why afilu elef lebatel. But by going ahead and saying it's speaking about a treifa, you create another problem in the latter case of the Mishnah. Why but a taruvis in the world is it not bottle? It's not davashleis matirin. It's never. So now we can go ahead and come to another din. Maybe an egg is a dava chashiv, and a dava chashiv is not bottle. What makes it chashiv? It's something b'minyan. So now we take off on that tangent. The chitema beitzah chashuva, a beitzah is chashiv. V'lei batla. So einachinami, it's speaking about a beitzah of a treifa, and therefore it's fake yaser. And the reason why afilu elef lebatel is because it's dava chashiv. That's according to Manda that anything that's counted. Only certain things that are counted. We're going to see a machlokes in a second, fellas. Now, whether it's a specific din or a more amalgamated din. In other words, if something is counted, that creates its chashivas. Anything that's counted, and people count eggs. Or no, when it says a dava chashiv, it's speaking about specific things, only these things and nothing else. So like the Mandi Omar that says it's everything that's counted, that would explain very good teretz. Third case is speaking about a treifa, therefore sveika yasa. Fourth case speaking about a taruvis, dava chashiv, since some people count eggs, the Mele would explain why it's afilu elf lebatel. But like the Manda Omer says that eggs do not go into the concept of davar sheba chashiv, you have a problem by suffix treifa. Why in the world is it not batel? Let's see it inside. Somebody has bundles of fenugreek. Shall klei akerim, that of klei akerim, which were planted in the vineyard, and the halacha is that it's asa b'hana, and it's bottled. Usually it's bottled with 200, but the halacha is yadliku, you have to burn it up. This arvu b'acheres, if they get mixed in with others. B'acheres, and this others get mixed with others. Kulan yedluka. You have to go ahead and burn them. Divrei meya, because why? Because they're not bottle. No, yalu b'achas matayim, the bottle by 200. Shai Remeya oimer eshedarka limnois. Remeya says eshedarka limnois migdash v'chachamayim ein mekadesh el shisha devarim b'vad. So it says Remeya that it's not bottle. Why? Because since these things are counted among other things, therefore they're not bottle. But Chacham say these are not from the big ones, right? Only these 6 things. Rabbi Kiva is Shiva, the 7th thing. Ve'elohim, these are the 6 things. Egos a perach, certain nuts, remani badon, pomegranates in this place. Chavia stuma is closed barrel of wines. Chalfei tridim, we have prickly beets. The kalchei kruv and stacks of cabbage. Vidlas yivon, some Greek gourd. Rabbi Kiva Ma'asav av kikra shel balabatim. These are only these. Haroyel arla, those that in the royal arla, like Rimayim is royal arla. Haroyel klei kerem, like chilfei tridin and kerev, and kikrais klei kerem. Now, so therefore, you see 2 different things. You see the machloikus that it's anything that's counted, or something that only the specifics. Now, the idmar law we learned on this price on this Mishnah. Rabbi Yochanan says eshedak limana sheninu. These specific ones, Rashim ben Lakish says, "Kol shadar limana sheninu." So learn the word eshadar. Let Rabbi Yochanan learn kol according to Rabbi Shimon. Hanich Rabbi Shimon says darshan kol. Therefore, makes sense since eggs are counted. It could be speaking about the egg of a treifa, and therefore, since they are counted, they're not bottle a little bit elif because this is davar chashiv. El Rabbi Yochanan ma'ik lemeima. Let Rabbi Yochanan, why are you going to say? Let Rabbi Yochanan that eggs are not one of the big 6 or 7. Why is it a double chashiv if it's speaking about klei kerem? Okay, so guys, what do we have to do? We have to find somebody who holds that if it's speaking about a treifa, that the eggs would be not bottled, even if you hold these 6 things. So Amrav Papa, Hai Tana, the Tana of the Brisa that said what? That it's speaking about of a treifa, and it's going to be bottled. It's not going to be bottled. It's the Tana of Litra Ketziyos. It's the Tana what of Litra Ketziyos. Now, I just told you wrong pshat. I just taught you wrong pshat. I just. Okay, Baruch Hashem, I stopped myself. We're going back on the other brisa. We're going back on the brisa above, the brisa that said that the suffix of the egg that gets mixed in is us, right? Now, what was Akasha? Akasha was that how could it not be bottle? It's us, it's not one of the 6, it's not one of the 7. So how is it? So if I find a man the Omar who says by Truma de Rabbanon in this scenario, and this is not one of the things that are counted, if Truma de Rabbanon is bottle, then Kol Shkein de Oraisa will be bottle. It won't be bottle. If Truma de Rabbanon won't be bottle, then Kol Shkein, an egg which is a treifa, won't be bottle. Midoraisa Truma is only taken from Tirish, Yitzar, and olives, grain, and wine and grapes. That's Truma Deraisa. Anything else is the Rabbanon. So figs, dates, pomegranates, that also be the Rabbanon. Good? So much. With this in mind. You want to know a teretz to answer that brisa? Amar Papa Hai Tana, the Tana of above is Tana the Litra Ketziyos. It's the same Tana that learned the following by leaders of cut figs. Hudamar. Kol Dava Shebeminyan, Afilu B'Drabanan Leibatal. Anything Dava Shebeminyan, such as Paris the Rabbanon, Leibatal B'Kol Shkein B'Deraisa, and certainly what? And certainly an egg. That is certainly an egg that is treifa would not be batal. Did not. So that's the Tana. So we're in other words, we're coming now to answer up the question. How is it possible that someone who holds that an egg of a treifa will not be batal? That's the Tana who says the Rabbanon won't be batal. So if that Rabbanon, Truma the Rabbanon won't be batal, Kol Shekain, an egg of treifa will not be batal. That who is that Tana? The Tanya. Literally, Shedod Sal Pi Igel. They used to eat cakes of figs. They would press them together. They would have a mold or a barrel, and they put them in the barrel. So now you have tons and tons of figs. Some of them are truma, and you don't know. One barrel is truma. You don't know which top of the mold is what is truma. Al pi chavius, you put it on top of a barrel. And you're there, basic chavius. Now, but you do know it's on the top. You don't know where it is, but you do know it's on the top. Das al pi kaveres, you put it in a basket. Okay, so three, either a mold or a barrel or a basket. All we know is that if you have 100 of these, 101 of these, and in one of them there is truma de rabbanon, it's truma of a fig. Is there any which way I can eat it, or do we say the ganze zach is not bottle? Good. Now, Reb Meir. Now we're going to have machlokes between Reb Meir and Reb Yehuda into a machlokes between Reb Elazar and Reb Yeshua. Reb Meir Oimer. Reb Eliezer Oimer. Reb Eliezer says, here's the way you mavatal. This is the most mekel de kashita. Royines el yoinois ki'ilein prudais will view all the upper ones if they're separate, loose. V'hatachtoniois milas es el yoinois, and the ones on the bottom will go ahead and take care of the top. So if you have enough from the bottom to go ahead and take care of the top, you're good. So that's what Rabbi Meir says in the Shitas Rebbe Eliezer. Rabbi Yeshua Oimer, Im yesham meya pumim yalu v'imlav hapum masurim v'shulayim mutarim. You need 100 tops. Since we know the truma is on the top, the bottom can't come into mivatal it. The bottom clearly is still in. The only thing that can mivatal it is the top. We don't look at the top. We don't look at anything else. If you have 100 tops, you can eat it. If you don't, not. So like Rebbe Eliezer, you'll count the bottom. Like Rebbe Yeshua, you won't count the bottom. This is the way Rebbe Meir explains the machlokes between Rebbe Yeshua and Rebbe Eliezer, and we don't need any of these because what we need is the next one. Rebbe Yehuda Oimer, Rebbe Yehuda says, now, this is Rebbe Yehuda in the Shitas Rebbe Eliezer, and in the Shitas Rebbe Yeshua, we need Rebbe Eliezer, we need Rebbe Yehuda's opinion of Rebbe Yeshua. Good. Rebbe Yehuda Oimer, Rebbe Eliezer, he says the same as Rebbe Meir and Rebbe Yeshua. Oimer, im yesham meya pumim yalu. If you have 100 tops, it's going to be mevatlet. V'mlav hapum masurim v'shulayim mutarim. The tops will be mutter and the bottoms will be asa. Here's what we need. Rebbe Yeshua Oimer, afilu yesham shalosh meya pumim. Even if you have 300 pumim, lo yalu, it's not going to go ahead and work. It's not going to go ahead and work. Why? Because it's not bottle. It's not going to work. So now, this is truma de rabbanon, right? It's afilu be'elef le bottle. It's not one of the 6. The Tana before who said that an egg of a treifa that gets mixed in with this is afilu be'elef le bottle is this Tana. If it's not bottle by truma de rabbanon, it's certainly not going to be bottle an egg, which is the raisa because it's a suffix treifa. That's the Tana. So again, we learned pshat. We learned pshat. We got into this kasha. We got into this. We wanted to know how it would count the suffix right, whether it's suffix. We said sveika usher. We asked the kasha. It works like suffix daraisa like Rabba, but how does it work according to Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Yitzchak? So we said that it's speaking about a suffix daraisa of what of a treifa. That added to a side question. If it's a suffix deraisa of a treifa, why I feel elf like bottle, like the mandiyom dafka these 6. And for the Gemara, there is a mandiyom who says it doesn't have to be dafka these 6. It could be other things, right? It could be what the mandiyom of litru katsiyos. That mandiyom holds that even the rabbanon, truma the rabbanon, such as figs, I feel elf like bottle. So certainly the deraisa, a beitzah of a treifa would be asur. It would be bottle. Okay, let's just finish up. The Brisa continues. Darsa ba'agol b'nei yodei be'ez agol darsa. Again, I just spoke out what we needed. We're good. Now we just finish off the brisa, catching up loose ends. Darsa ba'agol, you put it in an agol. B'nei yodei be'ez agol darsa. In the first case, guys, we knew we put it on the top. Here we don't know b'chlal where it is. Divya kol yalu. Everyone says that it's bottle. Divya kol hainu b'klai. What are you talking about, everyone? Now, Amar Papa Hachi Kamar. Darsa ba'agol b'nei yodei be'ez makam agol. You don't know which place. Darsa, Ilit Swaina, Ilit Droimiv, is it south or the north, on top and the bottom? Divya Kol Yalu, everyone says that you can go ahead and starve to Mevatel it. Rashi Yom Eloilam, Safik Yom Safik Ra. Rashi is going back to the original thing. You fetched in this pshat about a beitzah of a treifa. No. Guys, what was the kasha? Loit Reb Yitzchak and Rebbe Yosef, who hold that it's the Rabbanon. So therefore, suffix the egg that's born on Yontif is usher. Why is it usher? Since the egg is only the Rabbanon, if you knew for sure it was born on Yontif, its Sveika should be mutter. So therefore, we had to change the gear, change the pshat, and say it's not speaking about Yontif, it's speaking about a treifa, right? That's the kasha. Rav Ashi is coming now to answer that kasha. Forget about treifa. You had a kasha. If it's the reason why an egg on Yontif is usher is the Rabbanon, then why would Sveika be usher? So Rav Ashi is coming to answer that. Rav Ashi Omar, lo'ilam suffik yontov, suffik chayil. It's a suffik yontif, suffik chayil. Havidava sheyesh lematirin, the chaldava sheyesh lematirin afilu b'darbanan lo'ibato. He mamish saves us very easily. This din of dava sheyesh lematirin is universal. It's not only said by deraisa dikadinim, it's said by derabanan dikadinim. So watch. Derabanan, if this egg is born on Yontif, it's asa, I'll see that Paris or else mashkin. Suffix, it's also asa. Why? Because this thing is a davar sheish matirin. Because after Yontif, it's going to be muta. Since after Yontif, it's going to be muta, afilu elef lebato. So now the brisa goes geschmiert. You're not subject to go ahead and saying it's a tana from litra ketziyah. Instead of speaking about the raisa, it's speaking about the rabbanan. It's speaking about the rabbanan. Wish everyone a great Shabbos. Probably 9 o'clock, I think. What time is, I'll put it out, but probably about 9 o'clock we'll learn this week. I think it's early enough. Okay?
Thank you, Rabbi.